Do you dream to retire before your parents or see minor children under your care retire as millionaires? Then, folks, you are in the right place. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you. Welcome to the Muslim Women Invest podcast. I am your host, Dr. Miral Azam Khalil. For the greater part of the past decade, I have invested in the US stock market, US farmland, and real estate, put over 100 families towards creating generational wealth through minor investing. In this podcast, we talk all things money and empower Muslim women to take steps towards financial freedom through busting myths and small, bite sized, actionable steps. So let's begin, starting with the dua of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, or Prophet Moses. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to our Sunday live session. My name is Dr. Miral Khalil. If you guys can hear me, if you can put a yes in the chat box so that we can start. The topic for today is investing in no man's land. It's an interesting topic for somebody who has been a long time investor like myself. So let's begin. Of course, before every presentation, I give a disclaimer. This presentation is for education purposes only. No client relationship is assumed. And this is not a tax advice, and no soliciting for financial advice, please. A little bit about your host. My name is Dr. Miral Khalil. I study child development and adolescent psychiatry, and I have been investing since I was 15 years old. I am going to date myself. This is more than 20 years ago. I have been investing in the US stock market for more than 10 years. And I have studied under big names like Terry Egioma, Delaney Burrows, and many tax experts. Investing is a way for me to be financially free, and I think that financial literacy is a big lack in the public school system, in the private school system. Just like taxes are not taught in college or in schools, there is no emphasis on financial literacy, which is the bedrock of all kinds of independence, the independence to be what you want to be, the independence to go after what you want to go after, the independence to pursue hobbies. And I personally believe that because of this lack of financial education, women, especially women of color, retire in poverty, and together we can change this narrative by trying to educate ourselves one step at a time without getting overwhelmed. So let's begin. I always start with the dua of Hazrat Musa, Rabbi Shahri Sadri wa Yassirli Amri Wahlul Uqdatam min Lisani Yafqahu Qawli. And my intention is rooted in Surah Al Asr. I always remind myself first and foremost that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, commands us that every human being is in loss except for people who guide people to the truth and guide people to patience, both of which are required in investing. Investing is a very intimate topic. It's me giving you sound financial advice according to my expertise. And so I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whatever is beneficial to you sticks to you, and whatever is not beneficial to you does not stick to you. So whatever is beneficial, take it, and whatever is not applicable to you, please disregard it. This is a general advice. So investing comes from financial literacy. It is honestly as simple as that. When I started investing, a lot of people made a lot of fun of me, and they were like, "You're an MD, you should stay in your lane. This is not your major." People said a lot of things, but I am proudly self-taught. I paid other experts to teach me, and now I'm in a position that I have more than enough money to relocate if I want on my whims, and I can honestly say that this is true for anyone and everyone who has made this decision that they are going to invest in their education. And financial literacy is extremely important, especially amongst Muslim women, because a lot of us know someone who is trapped in a relationship or in a situation where they're unable to get out because they do not have the financial means to do so. And so we are privileged that we have the health, the opportunity to learn. And so we are living in the biggest economies of the world. The United States is one of the biggest economies of the world. And so we have this is an opportunity given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we can improve our situation through financial literacy, which is honestly the one of the best investments you can make, even more than saving money for your children. I ask people that if you are to give them a gift, give them the gift of financial literacy, teach them how to budget, teach them how to save, when to invest. Because just to remind you, or if you people are unaware, Warren Buffett, who is the titan of investing in today's world, started investing when he was 9 years old. I want you to sit with that thought. So I want you to ask yourself, and I ask myself this question all the time: are you on track to retire with dignity? Remember, I did not say, are you on track to retire as a millionaire? Are you on track to retire with dignity? Are you going to be self sufficient? Are you going to be independent? Are you going to be able to bear an expense, an emergency expense, a medical condition that that all of us can be, we can face a medical emergency at any time. Are you equipped to handle that kind of emergency on your own? Are you creating generational wealth for your family, or are you creating debt and liabilities for your family? This is a very important and a very harsh question that all of us need to ask ourselves first, and then look at your financial situation, look at decisions you're making, and ask yourself, is this going to be a liability, a debt that I cannot resolve within my lifetime, or is this going to turn into an opportunity and an asset for people after me or minors under my care? Am I educated enough to make big financial decisions like buying a house? I know this is a point of contention with a lot of people that I know, uh, people who are finance gurus as well. But this is a question that I want everybody to ask themselves. If you own a house, the mortgage of the house is not the only payment that you are making towards that house. And I'm not talking about the general other utility bills that go into the house. The house is a money pit, and it requires maintenance like any other thing. Your car is also a liability. These are important things to consider when you are making big financial decisions. And I'm going to continue further, but one of the things that my husband tells me is that we should, in the US financial market, buying a brand new car never makes sense because of the way it depreciates. So I did not have that kind of literacy. I grew up in Pakistan. My parents always had brand new cars. Whenever we changed a car, it was brand new. So this concept is new to me. So please do not assume that if you know something, this person right next to you might not know the same thing, and it might be life changing information for them. So for him telling me that buying a used vehicle is better than putting 50 60,000 dollars towards a new vehicle which is going to depreciate was life changing information for me, because um I don't intend to keep my car for the rest of my life. So I'm just saying that whenever you're making these big financial decisions, please consider your financial situation. And just because X, Y, and Z has done it, or your neighbor has done it, or your sibling has done it, they are in a different financial situation than you are. You have to take into account a holistic picture of what is going to go into this. What is the fine print of anything that you purchase? You have to read this, especially if that purchase is as expensive as a house, or health insurance. You can shop around for that, but a house and a car and everything. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is that you, me, and everyone else is living inside the decisions we made 3 to 5 years ago. So if you are in a financially sticky situation, I want you to go back and unravel what decision did you make to come to this position, and then if I or anybody else is in a financially uplifted position, I want us to congratulate ourselves and be grateful that we were allowed to make a sound financial decision because of which we are enjoying the fruits of a decision which must have been a hard decision a couple of years ago. So it's extremely important to think of financial literacy not in the terms of what do I want right now, but also in the terms of what is this decision going to impact, what's the impact of this decision going to be in 5 to 8 years. Okay. So instead of fearing investing, which I know a lot of women do, especially because we are um, risk averse, which simply means that we are scared of taking risks, learn little by little, like I did. Nobody has learned overnight. Nobody. And you are perfectly capable of learning it. So now a lot of people come to me and they're like, the finance jargon or the language is really difficult. Here are my 2 cents. Number one, it's difficult because there's a lot of men in the finance what do you call, in the finance arena, and they make it seem like it's difficult or it's complicated. I promise you that I was able to learn everything within a span of few months. The only thing that required by you is an intention that you are going to learn little by little. Small terminologies here and there, the ability to confidently look up something and not be scared to ask me or anybody else, hey, what does this mean, is the key to success. I am able to make much more mature financial decisions than I was able to do or able to make 10 years ago. And imagine, it took me such a long time, but it was honestly quite worth it. And if I would have been scared, or if I would have been discouraged by my discomfort to ask people questions, or if I would have taken people's comments to my heart that it's not your forte, you studied medicine, you don't need to go into the finance department, or you don't need to handle your finances, I would still be the same which I was 10 years ago. So imagine that the fear that is going to keep you stuck is going to turn into regret in 10 years. So simply learn little by little. There's a book that I was suggested when I was doing my medical rotation that's called The White Coat Investor. um, it's honestly been 12 years that since I was told about that book, or a couple of years ago. I've forgotten, but that book also changed my life because it was really relevant to my field. All I'm saying is that learn little by little. The jargon doesn't have to scare you. If you have spare change, you can start investing right now. Okay. Why does the stock market fluctuate? Investor sentiment is based on many things. Can I do party? Okay. Investor sentiment is based on many things. So, a lot of people are scared to invest in the stock market because there's a fear of recession right now. The Federal Reserve Board had a meeting last week and they announced that there are going to be two increases in interest rate. They did not announce when it's going to be because inflation, which means that um, there's an increase in the amount in the inflation is basically um, the rise in cost of living per year, to be very simple. And so it is normally kept at 2%. It rose up to 8% last year, and because of the interest rate hikes, the Federal Reserve Board was um, it it helped them bring it down to 4%, but it's still not at 2%. So they're going to increase the interest rate, which means that things are going to get a little more expensive so that they can bring the price of things down. They want people to spend less money. Less money should be floating in the market so that they are able to bring the prices of everything down. The local and global events. So COVID was a really big example of how, why and how the stock market fluctuates. Profit taking. Every time a company makes it becomes profitable, like Apple, Tesla, Amazon, there's so many companies, people or investors who have invested their money in that particular company are going to take out, they're going to sell their stock shares. And what happens is that when you sell your stock share, the price of that share falls if enough people are selling it. Why do they sell it? This is a way of making money for day traders. This is what happens on the Wall Street. People buy it at a lower price when the company becomes profitable, or when it posts earnings, which means that they on a quarterly financial scheme, they show that they've made um, more income than what was expected. The stock price rises, and that's how people make money on the Wall Street, in short. And so this is another reason why the stock market fluctuates. New innovation like the AI boost. Recently, the technology sector, which is called the tech sector in short, posted a rally. A rally means that all prices for the tech sector rises. For example, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, which is the new fancy name for Facebook, NVDIA, Adobe, all these companies which are involved in technology, all of their stock prices rose because there is a technology called artificial intelligence, which was floated into the market in the form of Chat GPT and Jasper, and all these platforms which can write blog posts for you, they can make videos for you. Even Canva introduced artificial intelligence, which means it can write or it can make images just by you prompting it, giving it a few keywords. So this was a big breakthrough. And because of that breakthrough, the technology sector rose. And so I'm just saying that when one of these innovations comes in, another one that comes to my mind is when the COVID vaccine came out, the shares for Pfizer and Moderna, both big brand companies that I'm sure you've gotten a shot of either Pfizer or Moderna, the stock prices for both these pharmaceutical companies increased because they came out with um, a vaccine for a raging, rampant pandemic. And so these are the factors which fluctuate market prices, stock prices. Not all of them, but I mean, these are the most important ones. And so what is a correction? So we're going to study, or I'm going to teach you what a market correction means. Why is it important? What does it mean in long term, short term? Just so that you understand that if you are investing long term, if you understand this terminology, you will understand that people who are naive, who have not done their homework, are the ones who are on the bandwagon telling people that investing doesn't work. It's really hard, you lose a lot of money. That's because they've not done their homework, and they're spreading rumors and misnomers and um, half-baked information about the stock market. But if you've done your homework, if you understand how the market works, if you understand that the market has natural rhythm, it fluctuates, you're going to be much more successful investing. So what is correction? Most people consider a correction to have occurred when the major stock index, such as the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So don't be scared of this terminology, please. S&P 500 is simply the top 500 companies that are trading on the stock market. Companies that have big profit sharing or big market caps like Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, Coke. You get the point, right? These big major companies, the top 500 companies that trade on the stock market are called the S&P 500 index. This index is basically tracking these top 500 companies that are trading on the stock market. And why do we have this index? Because if these 500 if these top 500 companies are doing really well, we know the economy is going in the right direction. If these top 500 companies are not doing well, we know that the economy, the investor sentiment is uncertain. and the Dow Jones Industrial Average is the top 30 companies. So let it be simple, and let just focus on what I'm going to tell you. So if the index, which is the S&P 500, if the top 500 companies or the top 30 companies, if the shares of these companies decline by 10%, so for example, if a company's share was $10 and if it's $9 right now, it's called or not 9 is going to be 10. For example, it's if it's more than 10%, if it's close to $8 now, so which is a little more than 10%, it's called a correction. What does that mean? That means that the company shares can go high, they can go low, but a correction allows a company share, a correction allows you to understand what is the average price, or what is this company's share actually, um, what's the actual price of this company's share. So when it's high, normally people are buying that share because they are expecting that company to come out with some kind of innovation, and they want to ride um, the rally, or they want to ride um, the earnings market, which simply means that when a company is about to post its quarterly financial earnings, a lot of people put money into that company because they know that they're coming out with something new, like a vaccine, or they're coming out with some new technology which is going to make their share prices go high. So a lot of people buy a share of a company just to ride that temporary rise in stock price. A correction helps you understand that what is the real value of that stock. What happens when you are not in tune with how the market works? A price of a stock falls by $2, like falls, like I told you, it falls more than 10%. Somebody who has just entered the market lost a bunch of money because the price corrected. But they don't understand that in the long scheme of things, the price that corrected is going to go up, it can go down as well. If you keep put, if you don't sell when there's a correction, you are never going to lose in the stock market until and unless that company goes out of business. Now, I'm not asking you to put your money in one company. I'm just trying to tell you that this is how, or this is why people lose money in the stock market, because they don't understand the stock market favors long term investors. Very few people can time the market. The top 1% of financial advisors who can actually time the market, or who can predict which stock is going to go up, which stock is going to go down, charge millions of dollars, and are dealing with companies that have trillions of dollars, or they have billions of dollars in assets. So for people who are normal joes like you and me, being a long-term investor is how we make money, is how we create wealth. And I will share with you in further classes, and I've shared with you guys before how money is generated in the stock market. And like I said, how not to be a loser. Long-term investors are usually better off staying the course. If you jump mid flight, you are going to lose money, because this is how the stock market is. It gives you an 8% return every single year. That is if you invest in an index fund. We're going to talk about that later too. Do not panic. But people who jump in and go in and out, and they have no idea how the stock market works, are the ones who are going to lose a bunch of money. If you have a solid portfolio, if you've discussed it with somebody who has the experience, has the foresight, has seen everything, I promise you uh, it's going to be a worthwhile investment. There's a reason why the US economy is so strong, because we have a very thriving, we have the world's top 500 companies that are trading on the US stock market. Honestly, they need to collapse for you to lose all your money. And so if the top 500 companies in the United States are collapsing, it's not just you who is going to lose money. It's going to be it's going to have a ripple effect on all of the world. So just be mindful of this fear mongering is not correct, and this keeps women, especially women of color, out of the market. And this is our this is a big loss to us, you know. So just don't be fearful, try to understand step by step, and you're going to be just fine. Okay, so investing will make you rich. Why do I say this? um, we are Muslims, and we are, most of us do not keep our money in savings account. Even if you keep your money in a savings account, the interest rate is the highest interest rate is with Ally, which is 4%. It is still lower than what the stock market is going to give you. The stock market on average gives you 10%. The reason why I say it's 8% is because it the 2% that I took off was for inflation. Now, a lot of people confuse the stock market with riba. Riba is when you are taking no risk, your money is not involved in it's involved in you are taking it's basically loaning somebody money, and you are going to get a return regardless of how regardless of if that money you know, if that business flourishes or if it goes down the drain, you are going to get your interest or money on top of your money back. But this is not how the stock market works. Just to clarify, whenever you're investing in the stock market, you're investing in a company, you're investing in a business, you are taking a risk. This is why the stock market fluctuates. If you took a risk and invested your money with Amazon or Adobe, the if the market share for that company goes down, you are going to share in that loss. So it's not guaranteed that once you invest money with the company, it's going to give you a profit regardless of how it does. That is riba. Investing in the stock market for long term results is not riba. And we have two, now I think we have two halal based indices as well. And that is just to tell you, and they mostly invest in the tech industry because they don't sell, they don't want to get involved in businesses that do are selling haram things like alcohol and everything. But all just to tell you that um, investing in the stock market per se is not haram, but investing in a savings account which has a riba on top of it is clearly haram. So please do not spread these misnomers. Again, keeping people on the sidelines by uh, you know, distributing half-baked information that investing in the stock market is haram. Please, I think it is bidah. Do your research. Please do not spread these kinds of rumors. You should be investing in the world's biggest economies. You have a responsibility, a social responsibility, a moral obligation, and a responsibility towards you, the minors under your care. You have the opportunity of a lifetime to start minor investing for your kids and retire them as millionaires. It is not even a question of if they will retire. They will retire as millionaires, because in the stock market, what plays the biggest part is the time. Time is the biggest factor in investing in the stock market. It is not how much you have, but it is for how long you have invested. In the rental market or in real estate, location is everything. In the stock market, um, time is everything. Money in the bank depreciates, as you know, because of inflation. Every year, the money in your checkings account, if it's not working for you, if it's not building assets, it will depreciate. I'm not saying you should not have any funds. You should have emergency funds, which is 6 months of expenses in liquid cash. Above and beyond, no, you should be investing in something. Long-term investing in the S&P 500, which are the top 500 companies, is the only way to wealth. It has been proven, and I will send you guys an article which is going to be a very exciting and an interesting read. It's an article that tells you how Warren Buffett betted against these financial advisors and told them that you cannot beat the market. You cannot beat the return of the S&P 500, and you will find out who won. It was $1 million bet, by the way. If you guys had fun, if you want to connect with me, I have a YouTube channel where I put up shorts. They are smallish educational videos. You can scan the barcode, and we are going to finish the lesson. It is 8 minutes over. Thank you so much for sticking by. If you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and if you guys want to email me, I am going to put my email address in the chat as well. Let's see if someone's here. So it's Mariam, Shanze, Farheen, and Khansa. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If not, I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, see you next week. Bye bye. Bye, Shanza. Bye, Mariam. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let's end our podcast with a very powerful surah from the Quran. A surah is a chapter of the Quran, and this surah is Surat Al Asr. I started my investing journey and began teaching investing because of this surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that only people who guide people to the right way, to the truth, and to patience are the ones who are going to be successful. Let's end on this beautiful surah, and I will see you later. Bye for now, guys. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن